Hi everyone, my name is Richard. Welcome to the English to Take Away podcast, episode 9. I'm known on social media as the Grammar Goat. I'm an English language teacher and content creator. I'm joined by my incredible co host, Jordan.
Thank you very much. My name is Jordan. I am on social media as English Lingo or English Lingo with Jordan. I'm also an English content creator, teacher as well. Yes, it's great to be back with episode 9. As we're recording this, into December already. It's we're nearly in double figures. Can you believe it?
I know, I know it's incredible. And the 1st of December as well, of course. My first question, sort of burning question I've got for you is, have you got your advent calendar?
No, I haven't. Yes, I should. I should go out and buy one, but no, I haven't. My brother has one at home. Bearing in mind, my brother's in his 20s. He's got one, but he's got like some kind of really expensive one where he gets like really nice chocolates every day, and then
Oh, wow.
the end one it's like a bar of chocolate or something. So I kind of want one of those.
Awesome. I think there are you can get Lego ones as well. We were talking about Lego, weren't we, on the previous episode? You can get Lego advent calendars and all kinds of expensive ones now. Yeah.
Yeah. Last year, um I think it was last year. Yeah, last year my daughter had one, which was like a Disney princess one, and every day it was like a different accessory or a different thing linked to Disney princesses, and yeah, she couldn't wait to open it every day. To be honest, it was that burning itch that she had to wake up and open something.
Yeah. I mean, kids love it. My kids love their advent calendars. I love advent calendars as well.
Yeah,
Brilliant. Let me
absolutely.
let me break down the podcast for everyone. If you're a first time listener, English to take away, we usually start having a chit chat about what we've been up to, what we've been doing. Then we'll discuss a story in the news that has caught our eye. We'll do a role play, and then finally we'll give back 10 English language items, words or phrases that have come up in the podcast, and we'll teach you some useful, practical English.
Perfect. Absolutely. So, I'm dying to know, how was your trip to Poland? Because, as in, if you are a first time listener, Richard was on his travels last week to Poland. So, I don't know anything about what happened in Poland. So, I'm itching to know, how did it go and how was it?
Thanks very much for being so enthusiastic about the trip. I liked your phrase as well. I'm itching to know, which is a great phrase as well. I've just jotted it down. I've written it down for the end. Yeah, it was a really good trip in the end. Thank you. I went to Poland, to Krakow, beautiful city in southern Poland. Jordan, have you ever visited Poland, by the way?
No, I want to. It's something that my wife and I are kind of thinking about, if we can manage to get finances together, and if I can kind of work as well. We're thinking about perhaps doing a little bit of a tour around Europe, perhaps next year. So, of course, coming back to England, um, Poland is definitely on my list that I want to visit. Um, so yeah, I would love to. It's your From your pictures of your selfie in the at the main square, it looked lovely.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely beautiful. Krakow is absolutely wonderful as a city. So yeah, the trip ended well. It was a bit of a um, an interesting start to the trip, to be honest. So I'm sort of your classic dad traveller. Even when I'm travelling on my own without my kids, I'm still like the classic dad traveller. I mean, how many hours before your flight would you arrive at the airport normally, Jordan?
So the the safety net is 3 hours, of course, but I would always aim to get there um, probably a little bit before, maybe 4 hours before, something like that.
Oh, that's okay. You're a man close to my heart. That's exactly my kind of feeling. I mean, a few months ago, my wife and my son had actually missed a flight to Poland because of traffic, and they couldn't get
Wow.
to the airport in time. So I was being extra cautious, and I got to the airport 4 hours before the flight time. Went straight through, no problem, into the departures. You know, looked at the big screen to find my flight, and strangely, it wasn't there. The flight wasn't on the board, and I was
What?
really confused. Yeah, so I checked through, and I found another flight with it had the same flight number as mine, but it had a different destination. It was another city in Poland, but it was different to Krakow, where I was headed. So I was really confused. But I thought it's no problem. I've got 4 hours for this to update and sort out. So I went and got a coffee, sat down, did a bit of work on my phone. Um, Suddenly, I got an email from the airline saying your flight to Krakow has been delayed by 1 hour.
Mm.
So I thought, oh my goodness. So by that time, it was another 4 hours.
Yeah.
And a while later, I got another email saying your flight has been delayed another hour. So I was going to go and get some food. I was going to go and, while away the time. And then, thank goodness, I checked on the airport website,
Right.
and it had my flight, which wasn't on the big screen, and it said gate closing.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. So I was really hungry, but I didn't get any food. I grabbed my luggage, sprinted to the gate. I'd bought priority, which means I should have been one of the first on, but I was actually one of the last to get
Yeah.
on the plane. There was no space for my luggage anywhere.
Wow.
Um, Sat in the seat, all hot and sweaty, quite uncomfortable. But I thought it's okay. I've made it. And anyway, we took off, and a little while into the flight, the pilot came on and said, unfortunately, due to freezing fog in Krakow, we're going to have to divert the plane and land in another city about 2 hours from Krakow. So I ended up landing in a totally different place. It was at that time it was nearly 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
I had to get a bus 2 hours to Krakow to the airport. Then I had to get an Uber, which I nearly didn't get because I didn't have any cash. Um, so in the end, I didn't get to bed until nearly 4 a.m.
Wow. That's
Uh,
incredible.
no, and I had to get up at 7 the next day to start my filming because I was there. The reason I went, of course, was to film a YouTube video.
Yeah.
So I wasn't looking my best and I wasn't feeling my best for my day of filming. But anyway, it all ended well. I had a fantastic time. I met some incredible students in
Awesome.
Poland who I interviewed. They were honestly wonderful students, and I had a good time in the end.
Cool. Good. Yeah. All's well that ends well, isn't it? At the end of the day.
It, exactly, exactly. But it was. Have you ever had a nightmare journey? Because it was a bit of a nightmare journey. Have you ever had a similar nightmare journey?
So coming back to England one winter, I remember the the weather in England was horrendous. The Did you hear that? That's the dog.
Well, that was the dog. Yeah, let's keep that in. That's authentic. That's brilliant. What? the dog want the dog want to get out, or
No, he's just moving around and shaking himself.
which dog is it? Which one is it?
That's our three-legged one. That is Tiger. He's part of where we live, but he doesn't necessarily have an owner per se.
Yeah.
But he stays here and sleeps here, and basically we've practically adopted him now.
Yeah, I think you've talked about him before. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
he's been in a few videos, of course.
I mean,
But yeah, he was just shaking.
yeah,
um, so yeah, basically the weather was terrible in England. It was the time where there was a lot of snow, and they closed the um, airports, I believe, because of the snow on the runways and etc. And I was flying, and I think I arrived at the airport, and they said, "Okay, you've got a 5 hour delay." Um,
that's
yeah,
tough.
so I had to, or we, and of course the other passengers, myself and the other passengers, we had to basically stay in the airport for over 5 hours. It wasn't just 5 hours. It was delayed. It was even longer. It was so uncomfortable because you get kind of bored, you get restless and everything. The one good thing though is I must admit is they gave us these kind of vouchers that we could exchange for food and drinks and things like that, and they were quite generous with the vouchers as well. It wasn't like a couple of quid. It was a decent amount of money to go and get something to eat actually. So yeah, it was pretty good. But yeah, that's probably the worst one that I've had in terms of like a delay or a cancellation, unfortunately. So, but yeah, it's when they are delayed, it's frustrating. It's just you want to get there and land and get yourself sorted. Of course, it's one of those annoying parts of traveling, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think probably the worst journey that I've ever had in my life was when I was traveling in South America and I was taking buses everywhere because
Right.
in South America it's very common to get overnight buses, of course, to travel to different places. And I was getting an overnight bus with my two friends, and we were late for the bus, so we were running. Just arrived, just made it, but again was hot and sweaty, and sat down on the bus. No air conditioning, so it was really, really hot. Looked across at my two friends, and they quickly fell asleep. It was a 13-hour journey, so they quickly fell asleep. I couldn't
Yeah.
I just couldn't sleep. In the end, I dozed off, and suddenly I woke up and I had this horrendous smell hit my nostrils. It was like a cheesy, like an old cheesy kind of smell. And I looked over, I'll never forget it. I looked over to my right, and on my shoulder were 2 feet. And and I sort of craned my neck back, and sitting in the seat behind me was a gentleman who had removed his shoes and socks,
No.
reclined his seat, and very kindly placed his feet on my seat, and they were sort of perched on my shoulder. So I tried to push them off.
Yeah.
They soon reappeared. I sort of tried to push them off again, and again they reappeared. And
Wow.
yeah, I had to endure that smell for the next sort of 10 hours until finally the bus arrived at the destination. So that was an awful
Uh,
journey. That.
yeah, that doesn't sound pleasant, to be honest. I wouldn't want that happening to me either. That sounds awful. Yeah. I, I've I've done I've done an overnight bus in Myanmar. Uh the trip was all right actually. It wasn't so bad. The seats were quite comfortable and they were quite modern, so it was quite it was quite nice. But we did another overnight one in Japan, and it was just so narrow, so small, and the leg room was not enough, and it was just cramped. I couldn't. I just couldn't sleep. It was just so uncomfortable. And yeah, I wouldn't want to do those kind of trips unless it's in one of the sort of don't want to sound too snobby here, but one of like the sort of the larger room type cabins that they have where you can actually either lay down or you can move around a little bit. I don't like being cramped up and not able to move around. So I understand the the feeling of being on an overnight bus. Of course, it's not always that good.
No, I mean, I don't think it's being snobby at all. I totally agree. I think it's sort of the difference, isn't it, on a flight between being a regular passenger and then being in business class or first class. Like the difference is incredible. I mean, I've never. Have you ever flown first or business class and had one of those pods? You know, with I've never done it, but
No, I would love to one day.
I I remember flying with a friend in Southeast Asia, and she got a free upgrade
Wow,
uh, to um, business class. So she got a pod at the front of the plane, and
nice.
I was at the back of the plane. And I remember it was the worst turbulence I've ever experienced on a plane. So bad, in fact, I was ready to text sort of goodbye messages to my wife and kids, so that when they found my body, that I'd have the phone on me if
Yeah,
the message didn't end. Um, Sort of, I love you, you know, goodbye. And we got to the
yeah,
destination. I said to my friend, "Oh my goodness, that turbulence was awful, wasn't it?" And she said, "Well, to be honest, I had a steak, I had a glass of champagne, and I fell asleep, so she didn't feel any of it." So that for me was the difference between a business class seat and a cattle class seat. Right?
yeah. Yeah, I would love to experience flying first class one day. I think it would be not first class, business class. I think flying business class would be, it's just a different world, isn't it? Everybody says that once you do it, you won't ever want to go back. Of course,
Yeah,
that's the problem. Once you do it once, you'll realize the difference between how comfortable it is. But yeah, I'm yet to experience that. So hopefully, one day I can afford it and we can enjoy that. I hope so.
or
But yeah, not at the moment.
no, same. I mean, some planes, I think they have you can have a shower. They've got a
Mm,
bed. It's quite remarkable in comparison to, as you used the word, didn't you? Narrow and cramped
yeah,
seat on a plane normally. So
yeah.
yeah,
I think the ones that have the luxury and the sort of I would say extravagance of flatbeds and showers and that they're amazing. They are absolutely wonderful, but they are extremely expensive. The when you look at the prices of them, they're sometimes not justifiable. You can't justify spending that much money and then you could save loads of money by just flying economy. And it's always like
yeah.
balancing those things out. Like, really, do I need to um, spend all of that money or should I save it? Yeah, it's always difficult to know what the best thing is to do. But yeah, luckily I don't have that problem. I can't afford it.
Well, same here. Same here. Jordan, what have you been up to this week? What have you been doing? Have you got any?
um, Nothing too different. Just I think this week was all about Black Friday, so I was um, doing a lot of videos promoting Black Friday things for myself and my offer that I had, and just filming a few videos of those. Funnily enough, one of those included me getting smacked round the face with a fish, which my daughter really loved, and she loved it so much that she kept laughing while smacking me in the face with a fish. So I had to keep redoing it again because I needed her to be more stern looking because she was telling me off. Um, so yes, she enjoyed doing it multiple times. But probably
Jordan,
yesterday
is
was
this?
the. Go
Sorry
ahead.
to
Sorry.
interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm just dying to ask this question. Is this going to be the start of a series where you get slapped in the face with different objects?
It could well be, yes. I think it might be an interesting, a series of videos that we could do. But if I get marked, I might need to take a break for a couple of weeks and then go back to it.
Of course, or some extreme slow mo shots. Of you being
Yes, yeah,
whacked. Would be entertaining, I think.
absolutely. Um, but yesterday was really cool because my daughter and I we went snorkeling in the afternoon, um, and as we were sort of swimming over this rocky area, we saw something moving on the bottom of the sea and the sand. And as we were swimming over it, it just started moving. And then once it noticed there were people there, it quickly scurried away, moved away. But it was a sea snake. I've never seen a sea snake before in my life.
Or
So yeah, it was really quite interesting, fascinating to see one. And we swam over the top of it, and to see it move around like that was, yeah, it was really cool actually. So I we came back and I quickly Googled it, and they're venomous as well.
I was going to ask that. I was just going to ask you: is it dangerous? But they
Yes,
are
yes,
venomous.
they are. I think this one was called a short-nosed sea snake. I believe that is the one that we saw, and yeah, that particular species is venomous. So yeah, we have to be careful, have to watch out just in case. But no, it wasn't an issue. It was pretty quick at getting away from us, so it was quite cool. But yeah, other than that, no, nothing really. Just yeah, just sort of going through the motions of working and going to school with my daughter and things like that. But yeah, um, the only other thing that we did do this week was we watched Moana 2. If anyone is interested in Disney movies, Moana 2 came out and we went and saw that, which was quite good fun actually. I thought it was a good sequel. It was a good sequel to the first one. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's about it. That's all I've done really.
Oh, cool. We saw Moana 2 last night actually at the
Oh,
cinema as well.
there you go.
Yeah, it was quite good, wasn't it? Yeah, the music's pretty good.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah. I,
amazing animation.
I like uh I like the story. I thought that the story continued quite nicely from the first one, and I do think that the music from the first one is probably more memorable than the second one. But yeah, as for sequels, I always think it's very difficult to make a sequel to a very good film. Um,
Yep.
but this was a good solid effort, and I thought it was quite a nice sequel actually for us to watch. But yeah, it's awesome. Do you have
Cool.
um, an internet story that you would like to share this week with us?
Yeah, I have actually. So I've got an interesting one that I saw on social media. It's all about an AI chatbot that a UK phone company is using to distract and annoy phone scammers. So phone scammers, are people who call you or you call them, and essentially they're trying to scam you. They're trying to take your money, your bank details. So the AI chatbot is the voice of an old lady,
Right.
and the old lady basically just rambles on and on and on the phone. This AI, telling stories about knitting or just basically being an old lady, changing the topic, being confused, being a bit baffled, and keeps the scammers on the phone for 30, 40, 50 minutes. I found that really quite interesting, actually. And with my kids, we went online and we found one of these AI chatbots,
Mm,
and we found this amazing one, Jordan, where you speak into the computer
yeah.
um, for 10, 20 seconds, and then it can replicate your voice.
Wow.
So you can then ask it a question and it replies in your voice.
Oh my goodness.
But not only that, it can reply in other languages as well in your voice.
Wow.
So and it's very, very accurate as well, like very accurate. My son and my daughter both did it, and it was so weird. It was like literally talking back. I'm
Yeah.
talking to the computer, but it's just like talking to my son and my daughter. I don't Have you ever seen this technology or
I
checked it out?
I've seen something like similar in terms of like voice cloning applications or software that they have, but I didn't realize that they had it also in other languages as well. That's incredible. Yeah, for it to take your voice and also clone it into Italian or German or whatever. That's incredible. That's yeah, scary.
Yeah, I wish I'd had that for my French GCSE speaking exam. Honestly, but
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
incredible.
But
Um,
do you think the chatbot, the old lady chatbot,
mm.
um, do you think this will be something that a lot more people can sort of employ to protect older people from phone scams?
I think possibly. I think, yeah, as the technology advances, as it is doing at such a quick, rapid rate,
Yeah.
I think probably it will be rolled out and used. But for me, it was just a really, because obviously I absolutely detest scammers.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was an ingenious idea, basically, to scam the scammers.
Yeah, absolutely. I, I did hear. I can't remember the exact amount of money, but I did hear that last year or a couple of years ago that the scamming industry managed to get something crazy like I don't know, $100 million from people in America, or it might have even been closer to like $1 billion. I'm not 100% sure, but it
Yeah.
was the figure always made me think, oh my goodness, like these people are really, really just going for as much money as possible, and yeah, it's sad because these victims are 70, sometimes even older, like 80 years old, and they have no idea what's going on because they're a little bit too trusting sometimes. And yeah, I agree with you. I completely detest any of the actions that they do. It's just, yeah, it's horrible and wrong on so many levels, of course.
Yeah, it makes my blood boil. It really does.
Yeah.
Makes me very. I got the figure because the figure was it was in the article that I read, and it was $12.5 billion. Well, I think worldwide
Ah, worldwide.
was
Yeah. Hmm.
was made from scamming. Obviously, I don't know whether that's a true figure, but that's just what I heard and
Yeah.
read in the article. It's
It,
quite staggering, isn't that?
it's an insane amount of money. It really is, because you think about the average person and how much the average person has, and then you then take that into consideration when you're thinking about how many people they've scammed. That's millions of people that they've done it to.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, these operations need to be, I think, more publicized. They need to be more, um, they need to be more protected. I think, I mean, the elderly people need to be more protected when it comes to phone scams, and hopefully this kind of technology can definitely help that, because yeah, it's otherwise it's terrible. It's not a nice experience for people, and they feel like they've done something wrong as well because they got scammed.
Yes, no, exactly. Jordan, how about yourself? What news story have you found this week?
Yeah, so I know that you're going to go to Korea, aren't you, for a trip at the end of this year? So something caught my eye because it was about Korea, and the YouTuber, or I think streamer, his name is Johnny Somali, or Johnny Somalia. Um, Previously, he had been to Japan and caused havoc in Japan. And he's also done the same in Korea. He's gone to Korea and he's caused an uproar in Korea because he's so disrespectful. He doesn't care about culture. Um, he is very insincere. He just does whatever he wants, and he disturbs everyone, from businesses to passengers on trains. Um, he's an what they call an IRL streamer, so he does in real life streaming. So he's walking along with like a backpack and everything, and streaming live to, I think it's like Kick or Rumble or Twitch or something. Um, and yeah, he's just doing these extremely disrespectful things. But in Korea, he got his comeuppance because people knew him and knew who he was, and they basically got a hold of him and roughed him up. Eventually, he got arrested, and he now faces a lengthy time in prison for the things that he has done. Um,
So
yeah,
what kind of was he doing then? What sort of behaviour? Obviously, he was doing it on purpose, right, to get more people to watch him.
yep.
But what was what,
So the one that he was doing in like a restaurant is he had noodles, and he was using, I think, his stream and things, and he was basically one, throwing noodles in the establishment, out, I think, outside of the entrance, and then he was doing silly dances in the middle of like where people were supposed to walk. It was kind of uh, like a convenience store slash restaurant type thing that uh, a lot of places have in Asia. and the people working in there were getting very unhappy with him, and then they started arguing, and yeah, he just wouldn't listen. So he was kind of stopping people from basically going about their day. And another really bad one is that they have the statues of the women. I believe they represent the um, something to do with between Korea and Japan during the war. And he, in one of his videos, started dancing and caressing this statue that is basically very, very, sacred to Korean people and Korean culture. And he just disrespected it. So yeah, crazy stuff.
I mean, there's so much to unpack there, isn't there? About not just about this buffoon,
Yeah,
but about social media in general and where it's going and the lengths that people will go to now to try to find some kind of notoriety or celebrity on social media. But
yeah,
obviously, he's crossed the line in so many ways there, hasn't he? With his behaviour, it's absolutely disgraceful in my view.
yeah. You would have thought he would have learned his lesson, because um, previously, a year or so ago, he did the same thing in Japan. He entered a construction site, which is you should never do in Japan, because it's an open construction site and it's trespassing. And he got arrested for it, and he got thrown in prison for couple of months, I think, and then deported. Uh, why? Why are you doing the same things? Like, what's the? Where's the? Where's the common sense? Where's the learning from it? Like, you would have thought, right? Okay, I've done this before. I've made a mistake. I'm gonna clean up my act. No, not at all. Yeah, done basically exactly the same thing in Korea, and I think he's going to pay a heavy, heavy price. And I think quite rightly so. I really do. I think, he's done that, and he has to face the consequences of it. And it will probably deter other people from being so idiotic. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting one, because I know you're going there, so I thought
Absolutely, no, it's that's awful, isn't it? But also an indicator of where many social media creators are going. Unfortunately, this sort of brain rot, stupidity. I
yeah,
don't think it's our age, is it? Because we're we're slightly older, but I do not find that kind of stuff funny. If I happen across it on YouTube, it doesn't make me laugh at all. That kind of idiotic
no, not at
behavior,
all. Like,
stupid.
I can always I can remember one thing that he did in Japan was he he went on to the trains, and he was um I don't know if he was aware of what he was saying. I presume he was aware, because you kind of need to be aware of it. But he was basically talking about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and things like that to do with the war, and which are like can be, some people probably don't worry about it, but it can be deeply offensive to the elder generation. And yeah, he was really, really pushing the boundaries of what he was saying to people in Japan. And you understand why people get annoyed and, eventually attack him, punch him, because of he's crossing the line. Not that I think physical violence is the remedy for everything. Of course, it's not, but you can understand why people get so irate, because he's just pushing the buttons of everybody too much, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, interesting story.
Yeah,
Wow. All right.
mind
Shall
mind
we?
mind boggling.
It is mind-boggling. Yeah, that kind of behaviour. Yeah, absolutely. Um,
Indeed,
all right. Shall we segue into the role play section?
absolutely. Yes, I would love to.
All
um
right. I think we're gonna sort of expand on the phone scammer idea, aren't we? The scamming idea. Um,
100%. Yes, I
all right.
am going to assume the role as a scammer.
You seem pretty excited about this. I think you're looking forward to scamming me, aren't you?
Scamming you from your hard-earned money.
Exactly.
um, so basically, the premise of this is going to be that uh, Richard's had a notification on his computer and has decided to call tech support about it. All right. So I will get to answer the phone. Good afternoon. This is tech support. My name is Jordan. How can I help you?
Hi, Jordan. Thanks for answering. I've had a message come up on my computer to give you a call. It says that I've got a fatal virus on my computer. Can you give me some tech support, please?
Yes, of course. Firstly, can you tell me, is this a Windows computer that you're using?
Yes, it is.
Right. Okay. No problem at all. And when did you get this notification?
I got an email about a minute ago. The email flashed into my inbox and said, fatal virus warning, call this number. So that's why I've called you. Obviously, I've got all my work on my computer, so I'm really worried. I don't want to lose all of my files and everything.
Yes, I totally understand. No problem at all. Um, so, do you have any open programs at the moment, like Excel or Word or anything that you're using?
I've got Excel open. I've got my online banking open. I was doing some online banking just before I got the warning email, you see. So,
Right. Okay. So, what I think would be the best idea is if you could give me access to your computer through what's called Team Viewer. Um, it will then allow me to remove the virus from your computer. So, all you need to do is to download. The software called TeamViewer, and you can give me the code, and then I will be able to access the files that are corrupted, and I can delete it from your computer, and your computer will be virus free, of course.
okay. How can you not instruct me how to do this? Can I not do this myself?
It takes a certain level of coding to know exactly what to look for and to be able to remove it. So um, if you want me to, I can try, but it will probably take a number of hours for us to go through it. Whereas if I get the chance, I can probably find it within 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, so it was Team Viewer, did you say?
That's right. Yeah,
Um,
Team Viewer. Yes.
yeah, yeah, okay, I've downloaded that now. Got a code up.
Okay,
One
great.
1458.
Okay, let me just punch that in. Okay, so what I would like you to do now is not to touch anything, of course. Um, I now have access to your computer, of course. So don't be alarmed when you see things pop up or the mouse moving. It's just me going through some of the files and deleting anything that looks corrupted or has a virus on it, of course.
Can I just
So
ask, what can I ask first of all? Like, what
yes,
was your company name again? Was it Tech Support?
my company's name is Windows Tech Support, and we offer support on lots of things like, of course, virus removal, protection against future viruses as well, firewalls, and general computer security.
Oh, right. Okay. Sure.
All right. So let me just do a few things first, and I will let you know once everything has been detected and removed from your computer. Um, okay.
Can I ask
I
why
believe.
you're why are you on my banking page though? Because I had that open. I can see that you're.
It was just me looking at the code to see if there was anything, of course, causing the
Hmm.
virus notification to happen. There is nothing to be alarmed at. It's just me checking the code to see if it triggered anything for the virus. Uh, so I found some of the files, and it looks like. You did have a virus. I have removed them. So once you restart your computer, everything should be fine, and there shouldn't be a problem, of course. Now, because of our service and virus removal, um, this will cost you £300. And if you can send some gift cards um, through to us, what you can do is you could go to the store and get the gift cards and give us the barcode, the code on the gift cards. Then we can redeem them as payment, of course.
It's a bit. This is a bit weird. I mean, I've never heard about paying in gift cards, and also you. I mean, you didn't say at the beginning of the call that you're gonna charge me so much. Why do I have to pay you in gift cards?
Well, it's easier for us to process. We can process the gift cards immediately rather than having to wait 2 or 3 days for banking transfers and things like that. So it just makes it a lot easier for us.
Well, so I'm not happy with this at all. Can you get out of my computer now? And
Um,
I'll
I, I
assume control.
I do apologize, sir, but I have actually locked you out of your computer. So until I receive payment, I will not be unlocking your computer. So if you could go to your local convenience store, or um, you know anywhere that sells gift cards, we accept Amazon or Apple gift cards. Then that would be really, I would say, a good scenario for us to get solved.
Wow. And then so break. Wow. Oh my goodness. What thankfully I've never been in that situation, but what would you do if someone then, locked you out of your computer?
Uh,
What would
sh-
you do? I
Shut it down
shut every
immediately,
Yeah, sure. But I mean,
because what happens is that I believe that if you shut it down, it disconnects. But yeah, they are ruthless.
yeah.
They're very manipulative, so they get you on side and friendly and helpful and nice, and they try to be your family or friend or whatever. And then once it comes to money, they just hit you really hard with everything.
Crazy. I've thankfully I've never been scammed like that. Have you ever been scammed? I guess not, because you seem very sort of aware of scamming and how to deal with things.
No, I've never received a like a notification like that, but I have received some notifications through, for example, like advertising on Facebook, and like asking me to uh, post some advertisements on Facebook, and these people are
Yeah.
gonna pay me so many thousands, but I know it's a complete scam. So I never respond to them.
No, exactly. I've had hundreds of those as well over the years.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly,
yeah. I just
exactly.
ignore them.
No, right. Wow, great performance. I think as the scammer. Well done, Jordan. Brilliant. But you said obviously I would never sort of act on an email like that. However, my parents or an older generation, they probably might do. They would be very worried about it. So it's
Absolutely.
terrible, isn't it? It really is terrible, isn't it? These scammers, they really are
Yeah.
awful, awful, awful people.
Shameless is a good word I think we can use for them. They're very
Yeah,
shameless. They don't care about how other people feel,
yeah,
and they don't care about the consequences that they have on other people. So yeah, they're very very shameless people, unfortunately.
agree,
Yeah, very
agree.
bad. Shall we go into the English to takeaway part?
Let's do it. Yeah, it's my
Awesome.
favourite part. My favourite part.
Please.
Shall I kick off?
Absolutely.
Okay. The first really nice expression that I wanted to highlight was again something you said at the beginning about my story. You were really excited and interested. Maybe not excited. You were really interested to know what I'd been doing. My story. You said, "Oh, I'm dying to know
Yes.
what happened," and then later you said, "I'm itching to know
Yes.
what happened." So two really nice expressions that you can use to say you're very interested in hearing or finding out what someone has to say.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think those two expressions are really cool because you can, yeah, you can give just a visual a visualization of like I really want to know, like I'm itching or I'm dying to know, is a real visualization of it, of course. So yeah, definitely those two indeed. um the one that I have got, or I should say I've got a few phrasal verbs today,
Oh,
is, you mentioned the first one, jot down. And I think this phrasal verb can be used in so many casual conversations and on a daily basis. Um, we can use write down. That's also another good one. But jot down has an element of quickness about it. So when you jot something down, you quickly make a note or you quickly write something down. So the slight difference between write down and jot down is mostly in terms of speed, how quickly it is done.
perfect. Yeah, nice. Great. I knew that you'd kick things off with a phrasal verb. I knew it.
I've I
Fantastic.
think I think I've got a few that you said today.
Oh, yeah. That's great, isn't it? Um, okay, the next one is a nice fixed expression
Yes.
that you can use to conclude a story. A story that might start off with something difficult or challenging, and then at the end of the story, it's a happier conclusion. So you said, "All's well that ends well,"
Ah,
which
yes.
is a really nice fixed expression that you can learn as a chunk of language.
Hmm.
And maybe when you're telling a story with a happy ending, at the end of the story, you can remember to say, "All's well that ends well."
Yes, yeah. So no matter the struggle that you went through during that story, during that period, if you came out the other side of the story and everything was good, everything was happy, then yeah, using that phrase "all's well that ends well" is a good example, a perfect example of that indeed. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, absolutely. The next one that I had is rambles on and on. I love this because uh, when we talk about someone who talks for a very long time, and about anything. Doesn't have to be anything specific. It could be any topic that pops into their mind, and they just continue to talk and talk and talk. We can say that she or he is rambling on and on. If you want to give a little bit more emphasis to it, you can say on and on, um, just to signify that the length of time that they're talking is quite long, of course. And yeah, I love that expression. I thought that was a great one to use.
Yeah, it's a cool ramble on. It's a cool phrasal verb, isn't it? That.
Definitely, yeah. And it's not
Yeah, yeah,
it's not one that is. I think it's very specific for certain situations. So when, as you talked about, um, an older lady who may be on her own and she wants to talk to whoever, and because it's a chat bot, they've cloned it to be this old lady, and she just rambles on and on about anything. It's a
exactly.
specific situation that it's used in.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Great one. All right. The next one is an adjective,
Cool.
and you would use it for a space that is very very small. We were talking about transportation and being on a bus or a plane. Now, I think many students, when they would try to describe a small space, they might just say small.
Yes.
But here's an alternative word that you used, and it was cramped.
Mm. Yes.
Cramped. So the bus was very cramped. The plane was very cramped. Cramped obviously means small. There's no space to move. So it's a great adjective for a specific situation.
Absolutely. Yeah. Nice. Um, and the next one that I like is the word baffled that you used. Of course, we can use a simile in terms of confused, but baffled is another variety of word that we can use that just means the same thing. It's just a different one to use in variation to confused or perplexed. But yeah, I like the word because it's just a nice alternative to saying I'm confused, I'm baffled. Um, is It's a great alternative for us to use actually.
Yeah, nice. Absolutely. And again, it's all about just expanding a
Yeah,
student's active vocabulary, isn't it? It's giving them alternative words that
one
possibly
hundred.
they wouldn't be used to just raise the level of
Because we're,
English.
I think, I think again when we're getting towards the sort of from the beginning levels and we're going up through the levels, we're looking for more expansive vocabulary in terms of not repeating the same words. And
Yeah,
yes, maybe native speakers do repeat some words, but we try not to repeat the same word too often. So if we said, oh yeah, I was confused by this, in the next sentence, we probably wouldn't use confused again. We would use baffled or perplexed, because we don't want to sound like we're repeating ourselves too much. So, yeah, it's a good way of showing students how to expand their vocabulary more.
absolutely. I think this eloquent repetition is so important as well in exams, isn't it? So
Yes,
in a writing exam, for example, as you said, using a range of synonyms, a range of different words, and not repeating the same word. It's quite. I wouldn't like to say annoying, but when you read a piece of students' writing and they've always used good, 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 good throughout their piece of writing, you wish and hope that they would try to use some synonyms, don't you? Just to
Yeah,
make it more enjoyable to read, and you'll, as a student, you'll get a better mark as well, won't you, if you don't repeat the same words over and over again.
certainly. Yeah, it's always much nicer to read something that has variety rather than repetitiveness. So yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. Indeed, yeah, very very good one. Cool.
Okay, so the next one's mine. So the next one is, yeah, again, something you said that I thought was like a great expression when you were talking about something that had interested you. You said, "Oh, something that caught my eye is."
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So again, it's like the dying to know and itching to know. It's a very sort of visual expression, isn't it? Literally, your eye has gone and
yeah.
caught something and
Yeah,
sent it to your brain. So I really like that. And again, students can, you can remember that, can't you? Learn it as a fixed expression,
100%.
and
Yeah,
telling a story, you can use it right at the beginning of your story.
absolutely. It's yeah. Whenever your attention is diverted to something and you notice it more than others, then you can say, "Yeah, this caught my eye," and it can be used in a lot of different scenarios as well. Um, you can say, "Oh, that dress really caught my eye in the shop because it was, you know, more vibrant than the others, etc." So we don't have to use it in necessarily terms of social media. We can use it when you're out and about as well, shopping. Yeah, there are lots of situations that it can be used. But yeah, you're right. It's a good one indeed. Cool. Um, Now, I have another one that I like, um, and this one is makes my blood boil. I loved this one. Just again, the visual expressions that we have today are fantastic. Like you can imagine your blood inside just boiling to a really heated temperature, steam coming out. um,
Absolutely.
yeah, this is used just to emphasize anger, just to emphasize your real disdain for someone or for an action that someone has done. And yes, it's a very descriptive phrase to use, and we can ask it as a question as well. We can say, "What makes your blood boil?" And people can then list off the things that really annoy them, make them angry. I wouldn't say disappoint because I think disappoint is not strong enough. But yeah, it's again another beautiful visual phrase that we can use for today.
Absolutely. Great one. Okay. Last one from me.
Last one from you.
Um, it's the difference between venomous and poisonous. So
Ah,
you were talking about the sea snake, which I googled, by the way, and I think if I had been swimming and if I saw a sea snake, I think I would have broken some kind of world record of swimming back, back like 100 meters or something. I think I would have been terrified. So venomous and poisonous. So you described the sea snake as venomous because things that sting or bite,
yep.
like a spider or a snake, are venomous,
Yes.
and things that you touch or you eat or
Mhm.
you inhale,
Yep.
like a frog or a mushroom, are poisonous. So that's quite an interesting difference, I think, in vocabulary.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, I think especially when you're thinking about like animals, you're I loved your example with frogs because some people might confuse venomous and poisonous with frogs, but generally speaking, because frogs have some kind of like slimy texture on them, that part is, if you touch that part of it, that's usually what causes the poison, and causes it to be poisonous. Whereas snakes and scorpions, they sting and bite, which is a little bit different indeed. So yeah, uh, great distinction between the two there. That's fantastic indeed. And the last one that I wanted to use, because I think, again, this is quite a nice word to use, is when you call someone a buffoon. it's it's just a great word to use. You can say he's a bit of a buffoon. Um, just means that they act in a very stupid way, that they don't really have an intelligent way of conducting themselves. Now, it's not saying that they are not intelligent, because, for example, the ex Prime Minister Boris Johnson was labelled a buffoon, but he's very intelligent. He's extremely smart, and yeah, he acts in a certain way that make people think he's a bit of an idiot. So yeah, buffoon is a great one, I think, for us to finish on today.
The word of the podcast, I think,
Yeah,
buffoon. Brilliant, brilliant that you highlighted that one. I think. Um,
indeed.
so, as always, if anyone's got any ideas for role
Yes,
plays or any news stories that they've seen in, obviously in the news, please send them to us, email them to us, English to takeaway pod@gmail.com.
perfect, awesome. I love the list today. I think the list is so descriptive and visual of the phrases and words that they can use. Yeah, it's definitely a massive highlight, indeed.
Great, great.
Awesome.
Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone, for listening or for watching, and have a great week. Jordan,
Yeah,
have a great week, and
will do.
yes,
Take
week.
care.